Since the beginning of time, since the first little girl ever existed, there have been horses. And since then, something about these majestic, sweaty, hooved beasts has fascinated young women, such as myself, for generations. What is it about these animals, about horses specifically, that young girls can't get enough of? Has it always been this way? Or was there a first horse girl? Who was she? This visionary who first learned of the sacred bond between a girl and her horse. Well, saddle up, because we're about to uncover the answer to one of life's greatest mysteries. Why do little girls and horses? Hello everyone, my name is Laura, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be going over the exciting history of horse girls. But before we dive into that, I have a couple of things I wanted to go over. I don't have any sponsors yet, but this is where they would be if I had them. Instead, I'm just going to plug my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Laura the Laura Keat. I've also got it right down here, and I've got it linked in the description. If you're new here, welcome. I post lots of videos just like this one about all sorts of different hyper-specific pop culture content. It would mean a lot to me as a growing YouTuber if you hit that subscribe button, rang the notification bell, or even just left a like and a comment. Oh, and one other thing, I do have affiliate links down in the description now. It's just links to what I have for my setup. I'm filming this on a Razer Kiyo. It films in both 30 frames and 60 frames a second in 1080p. It's super great. It's a nice portable little webcam with a ring light attached. And when I was deciding to start a YouTube channel, I didn't want to spend all the money on a big expensive DSLR, but I wanted to use something that was a little more capable than my phone. So I landed on this one. The built-in ring light is super helpful. The picture quality is great. And overall, I'm just really happy with it. I've also linked my lighting setup. Forgive me. These are just random ones off of Amazon, but they are the Torjim. They come 2 to a pack, $40 for 2 of them. They come with their own tripods, and the lights are fully RGB, so you can set them to whatever color you want, and they have adjustable brightness. I've got one on white and one on orange, and it gives my video this nice warm glow. They've been perfect. I also, if you watched my last video, you're probably very grateful about this, I did get a new mic. This is the HyperX Quadcast S with an attached pop filter. I am going to have a mic arm, but it didn't come in time, so I'm holding it. But it sounds really great. The difference between this and the lavalier microphone that I was using before is night and day. My opinion is that audio is the most important part of your YouTube video. Viewers just won't stick around if the audio is subpar. I know that's true for me. Don't cheap out on your mic if you're building a budget YouTube setup. This mic is just over $100 and it was an amazing investment. It's already saving me time because I know I don't have to go through and do a ton of post-processing to my really janky audio that sounded like it was recorded inside of a tin can. So, and it's a USB mic, not a diaphragm, not an XLR, because I do film all of this on my iPad. It's a long story. I'm gonna get a laptop eventually. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And now, without further ado, let's continue with the history of horse girls. Now, before we get into the history of horse girls, we are going to have to define exactly what a horse girl is. When I say horse girl, what comes to mind? Probably a young girl around middle school age. If I had to describe her, she'd have long, frizzy hair, braces, one of those brown on brown tie-dye shirts with a realistic horse on it. She definitely has a million books in her backpack. Like the seams are like bursting. It's like she looks like a turtle, just full of books about horses with all of her homework crumpled up at the bottom of it. Don't ask me how I know. Or maybe your school had a hobby horse team. If you're not familiar with hobby horsing, oh, allow me. Just imagine dressage, but inside and without any horses. Just pure horse girl energy, wild and free. I'm not joking about this, by the way. They take their craft very seriously. Somewhere right now, there's a girl with a stick between her legs doing squats so that she can nail her canter pirouette at next week's regionals. I did a cursory glance at some hobby horse equipment and wow. There are some very successful Etsy stores here, folks. And a lot of extremely terrifying, realistic, plush horse heads. More than The Godfather, I assume. Look at them. What is this? What are these? This one's $200. Look at this. They make hats. You can even get a fake hat for your fake horse head, for your fake dressage tournament. Oh my God, no. It's eyes. I know exactly what kind of haunted equine they were going for here, and I am so sorry to say that they nailed it. That thing has the soul of a Victorian orphan inside it, just like the horses it's based on. Horrifying effigies aside, there's a whole industry for hobby horse equipment. Carbon fiber sticks, ergonomic handles, extra fluffy heads. Can you imagine that girl in your hobby horse class that everyone hates, that has a fancy special horse head and a real leather halter? Meanwhile, you're stuck riding a mop. But broadly speaking, a horse girl is a subculture of young girls around middle school or elementary school age. I'm sure most of you had at least one horse girl at your school, and if it wasn't you, you could probably recognize her by the sound of her scribbling horses on the back of her math homework. They read books about horses. They wore clothes with horses on them. They may or may not have met a real horse, and that's okay. They're still valid. They often collected horse memorabilia, posters, keychains, plush, and if you were lucky, or had wealthy parents, Breyer horse figurines. Breyer horses were basically the Louis Vuitton of horse girl culture. They came with tiny saddles, glossy finishes, and price tags that made parents everywhere question their life decisions. If you were lucky enough to have a Breyer horse collection, it was serious business. You did not just play with Breyer horses. No. You curated them, posed them, possibly made a little museum where touching was strictly forbidden. They definitely all had names and backstories, and God help the little sibling who was caught touching them, or God forbid, breaking them. That's mine, give it back, no, oh my God, stop! Also, yes, the only horse shirt that I own is Uni from Neopets. I, however, was not a horse girl. I was their closely related counterpart, the dragon girl. While horse girls dreamed of galloping over the wide open plains, I dreamed of flying over those same open plains. I did say we were related. Known associates of the dragon girl also included the wolf girl.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
I can use that now because she's trans, good for her. The dolphin girl. And the very specific yet oft mistaken subspecies, the unicorn girl. Now, even though each horse girl has their own varied and unique equine experience, there are some pieces of media that are quintessential to the horse girl experience. Essentials like the Saddle Club, Heartland, everyone's favorite heartthrob, Spirit of the Cimarron, Black Beauty, My Little Pony, Flicka, Seabiscuit, Star Stable, Barbie Horse Adventures, Pony Pals, The Derby Stallion featuring Zac Efron. Let's go, Mr. Efron. Does anyone remember this?
You threatening me? No. Telling you. You want me to edge you? Take your best shot.
Racing Stripes, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Breath of the Wild. Even though I wasn't a horse girl, I did see most of these movies and stuff. Horse girl media is inescapable to young girls. I cannot overstate that enough. There was also, I think, maybe just a period in the early 2000s where they were milking the horse girl genre for everything it was worth. Was that because of Seabiscuit? You know how there's always like one successful movie and then everyone else makes like similar movies? Like when Madagascar was successful, so Disney released this.
Here I come! Who put that bar there?
Or how like everyone started making penguin movies after Happy Feet.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Was there a horse girl catalyst, a horse movie catalyst? I didn't look that up. So maybe I won't even include this in the video because that proves that I didn't do all my research, now did I? And those extremely lucky horse girls would be gifted the holy grail of all horse girls across the nation. A trip to the Holy Land, the fabled place where only the most dedicated of equine lovers, or let's be honest, those with wealthy parents, ever dared to tread. I'm talking, of course, about horse camp. Horse camp wasn't just a place. It was a rite of passage, a sacred pilgrimage. It was somewhere the horse girl could be free to live out her wildest dreams. Horse camp could include any number of horse-related activities, including brushing a horse, which always looks very romantic in books and movies, but mostly just involves removing clumps of dirt and sweat from a horse's mane. Petting a horse, to reassure you that you weren't a predator. Feeding a horse, watch those fingers. And ultimately, the pinnacle of all horse girl dreams, to ride a horse. To learn what it's truly like to look down at the world from the back of a stallion. I never went to horse camp. But you know who did go to horse camp? My wife. My wife did. Thank you, baby. I asked her for more about her experience with horse camp, but the only thing that she really remembered was that, other than riding it, she got to lead them through like a slalom course. I may not have gone to horse camp, but my Girl Scout troop and I were on Animal Planet. They gave one of our members' younger sisters a therapy riding horse, so kinda counts. I didn't get to meet the horse though, and they cut all of my shots. Here's some clips.
I'm saving all these cans for a horse.
Jared, we want you guys to know the horses that you're about to see already have homes. Hi, Snowflake. A mini horse here.
Because she's your horse.
I want you to know that they had us do this cheer. This grand reveal happened 3 or 4 times, and I don't think they used the first take, so peel back the curtain for you.
This is Maya. She's a
Oops.
Anyway, let's stop horsing around.
Oh, you stink!
And get back to the main subject of the video. Why do horses have such a chokehold on little girls in America? And elsewhere, I presume? To answer our questions, we're gonna have to learn about the very first horse girl. Anna Sewell was born on March 30th, 1820 in Great Yarmouth, England. Her parents, Mary and Isaac Sewell, were devout Quakers, at the time known for their values of pacifism, simplicity, and compassion towards all living things. This deeply empathetic worldview would later play a significant role in Anna's life and in her writing. For Quakers, kindness extended to everyone, your friends, your enemies, and yes, the sweaty horse pulling your carriage. The Sewells weren't exactly wealthy, however. In fact, at the time of Anna's birth, her father was seeing to the remains of a failed business. When she was just 2 years old, so before her brother Philip was born, the family was forced to declare bankruptcy and sell off most of their belongings and move to Dalston, then a small agrarian community on the outskirts of London. I hear that today the only horse you'll find in Dalston is one painted on the wall of a vegan cafe. Anna and her brother were largely educated at home. Schooling in England at the time was wholly privatized, so those who couldn't afford to go to school didn't. That didn't dissuade Mary, however, and she took her children's education very seriously. Mary wasn't just any parent with a stack of flashcards. She made sure to take her children to sites of historical and natural significance, frequent trips to the British Museum, and once they were old enough, horseback riding lessons. During this time, Mary took up writing and publishing children's books to help supplement the family income. And then in 1832, when Anna was just 12, in what would end up changing her life forever, the family moved to Stoke Newington. Stoke Newington is where Anna would first attend formal schooling. It allowed her to make friends with other girls her own age, and to be exposed to new subjects like French and mathematics. However, Anna's newfound freedom and learning would come to an end almost as swiftly as it began. In 1834, while attempting to run down a hill in the middle of a rainstorm, Anna slipped. She severely injured both of her ankles, and they would never fully heal. It left her unable to walk or even stand for long periods of time. She relied on a cart and pony for mobility and struggled with chronic pain for the rest of her life. Her limited mobility translated directly to limited independence, a reality that no doubt deepened her empathy for beings that relied on others for care and understanding. Her mother was her constant companion through these years, not only helping Anna through her physical difficulties, but also fostering her love for writing. She's the one who inspired Anna to eventually write what would become a foundational text of horse girls for generations: Black Beauty. Anna didn't begin to write until the later years of her life, and in fact, Black Beauty was her only published work. By 1870, at 50 years old, Anna had become so weak that she had to give up the cart and pony, which had been her source of independence when her legs had failed her. In 1871, Anna wrote, "I am writing the life of a horse. 6 years I have been confined to the house and to my sofa, and have from time to time, as I was able, been writing what I think will turn out a little book. Its special aim being to induce kindness, sympathy, and an understanding treatment of horses." Black Beauty was written at a time when horses were strictly considered a means of transportation. They were ubiquitous in Victorian culture, but people rarely paid any individual horse any mind, besides maybe a famous racehorse. However, Anna's novel was written from the point of view of the horse. It challenged readers to see them as creatures worthy of empathy and care, rather than just objects or vehicles. This approach wasn't just groundbreaking, it was profoundly Quaker. She masterfully juxtaposed what would have been an ordinary scene for most Victorians: a horse misbehaving for a second before being whipped into place by a coachman. Apologies abound for the disturbance. But how terrifying that must have been for the horse, Anna thought. Ripped from his open pastures, the only life he's ever known, then through no control of his own, and far beyond his realm of understanding, he's sold to a new owner, one that forces him to be in crowded areas, in close proximity to other horses that he doesn't know, constantly bombarded by strangers and unfamiliar sights and smells. A scary place where if you show any signs of fear or step out of line, you are whipped into compliance. Of course, this view of the situation isn't uncommon today, but it was in the 1800s. Though she died just 2 years after its publication, Black Beauty's legacy would continue long beyond her death. Black Beauty would go on to be one of the best-selling novels of all time, but Anna Sewell only received a single payment of £40. People empathized with the pain of the horses. It went on to inspire legislation against the mistreatment of animals. It's been called one of the most important social protest novels of all time. But, more importantly for our purposes, it would go on to inspire the pony book genre. While the 1877 release of Black Beauty was seen as the induction of the pony book genre, it did not see widespread popularity until the late 1920s. The late 1920s was about the time when the car started to come into fashion, which freed up horses to be something that girls were allowed to care about. Horses were traditionally seen as tools of war and implements of masculinity. But now boys liked cars. They're big and they go vroom and they don't shit in the street, and that's manly and tough. From then, the tale of a girl and her horse was almost as ubiquitous as the tale of a boy and his horse. Remember that. It comes back later. Critics of the era decried pony books as pulp fiction for children, but that didn't stop them from becoming a cultural phenomenon. They've inspired countless children to take up equestrian hobbies and thousands more to beg their parents for horseback riding lessons, even though they live in the middle of a city and the closest thing to a horse is painted on the wall of a vegan cafe. So is that the end of our story? Black Beauty inspired a genre of children's fiction about kids bonding with horses. Case closed. Mystery solved. Let's pack it up. Wrong. You can see the length of this video, so I know you know that wasn't the answer. Like when you're watching Criminal Minds and you're only 15 minutes in, but they caught the bad guy. And you're like, rookie mistake. That guy's clearly not the killer. I know that because of my superior intellect. and because there are only 15 minutes left in the program. Anyway, remember that thing I said about a girl and her horse being almost as ubiquitous as a boy and his horse? Well, that's where things get interesting. There's an extra layer as to why this new genre of pony books, pony TV, and I guess pony video games grabbed the attention of young girls specifically. As outlined by Jean Halley, author of Horse Crazy.
Girls who are horse crazy tend to be horse crazy instead of boy crazy. Girls who are horse crazy are focused more on things like their strength and their capacities with horses than on things like thinness, femininity, attracting boys. And I found that even the fantasies that horse crazy girls had were empowering. So one woman I spoke with said that she spent, some 6 years just completely passionate about horses, and she would play horses, she would read horses, she would draw horses, she would talk horses, she would think horses. And when she played, for example, with her friends, they would do, fantasies where they were out in the woods riding in an adventure, or they were rescuing someone, or they were training a horse that was untrainable. As she put it, she wasn't princessy. She was a horse girl.
She was a horse girl. I think a lot of us can relate to that. A lot of us girls can relate to that. The idea of running around in the forest, trying to tame an untamable creature, or pretending that you and your friends are maidens swept away with nothing between you and freedom but a horse. That's the secret sauce that makes these, frankly, terrifying creatures so appealing to young women. It allows us a safe space to explore things that don't fall within the traditional realm of femininity. But it also allows us to explore as much or as little of it as we want. For every rough and tumble down in the mud country girls make do, there's also the girl who puts eyelashes on her horse toys and dreams of braiding glitter ribbon into its mane. And for most, boys don't even have to be part of the equation. Dressage has long since been the only co-ed sport in the Olympics, and smaller competitions are often dominated by female athletes. What I'm saying here is a lot of horse girls grow up to be lesbians, or at least not straight. And horse genre media is a safe space for them to explore that at their own pace. Or not at all. We can't all be winners. And so I think we finally found the answer to why little girls love horses. To empathize with a powerful animal, to break gender norms, to compete with men on equal footing, and to feel a sense of freedom and strength in a world that doesn't always freely hand out those things to young girls. Oh, and also, horses are cute. Like, ridiculously cute. I'm not talking about real horses. Those are terrifying. 1,200-pound beasts that can kill you with a single kick and have teeth that look like they belong in a horror movie. No. I mean the idea of horses. Cartoon horses. Sparkle horses. What's not to love about a good old-fashioned, glittery horse that probably smells like cotton candy? Definitely doesn't watch you sleep or dream of eating your fingers. Let's be real. Horse girls don't become horse girls just because they want to upend the social hierarchy or to live out a feminist fantasy. They also do it because girls like cute things. They're this perfect combination of powerful and adorable. Horses let girls dip a toe, or a hoof, into rejecting traditional femininity while still holding on to the parts of it that they enjoy. And let's not forget animated horses. Animated horses are objectively the best kind of horses. They don't smell bad, they never bite, and they always look like they've just had a professional blowout. That's the kind of horse girls dream of. And that's the real magic of being a horse girl. You can embrace every part of yourself. Strong, rebellious, glitter-loving, and completely unafraid to spend 6 hours drawing sparkly horses in your Lisa Frank notebook. Horses aren't just cute. They're everything. At the end of the day, little girls love horses because they let them be whoever they want to be. Horses offer girls a kind of freedom and expression that's rare in other parts of life. Maybe that's why the horse girl archetype has endured for so long, why she's both a cultural meme and an emblem of girlhood itself. She's messy, passionate, and maybe a little weird, but she's also strong and imaginative and completely unapologetic. So here's to the horse girls of the past, the present, and the future. Whether you're galloping through a muddy field or just naming your stuffed animals things like Rainbow Fizzlepuff or Winnie Snickerdoodle, you're part of a legacy. And honestly, I respect the hell out of that. Hey guys, thank you so much again for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of horse girls. And if you were a horse girl, let me know down in the comments, what was your favorite piece of horse girl media? I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, and huge shout out to my patrons. Okay, thanks, bye.